And do you feel this is more of a federal or state thing that should be pushed first? Because obviously each state's different. You talked
Yep.
about the FDA. We briefly talked about Bobby Kennedy saying, this was something that hopefully he would push through, but I believe he's just tied up with so many other things that he would like to get to it, but he's seeing how, the Wall Street and politics work really over there. Do you think that from a perspective of, let's say, resistance or trying to push something through, should we start at the state level or the federal level and start to petition?
Boy, that's a great question, Casper. A really good question. Um, the people should start at the state level
Yeah.
and work hard with their state. And we've seen Delaware change to legal raw milk. We've seen Ohio do it. We've seen Montana, other places do it because the people spoke. The people went to the representatives and made change. I believe that Bobby has a responsibility because he knows about raw milk. At least he
Hmm.
knows enough about raw milk. Let's put it that way. He knows I know a lot about raw milk. That he has a responsibility to kind of clean up the chaos.
Yeah.
And I think that by just simply having a meeting and saying, here are guidances. A guidance is not regulatory. It's not something you have to do. It's not a statute you must follow. But what is it? Very clarifying, clear message that we acknowledge raw milk for human consumption. And here are some good scientific standards you should use to produce it and to test it. This is what you should do. And the guidance could be wonderful from the FDA coming down to the states. And the states could go, okay, we didn't know that. Now we do. Let's do something better to allow for raw milk access instead of having this moonshine running and all this stuff going on where it's illegal in pet milk and whatever. Don't suppress it. Don't compromise it. Bring it up. Bring it up to its level that it needs to be through good standards. And we know how to do that. We do it all the time at Raw Milk Institute. It's well understood. And we're getting better at it, but we've been doing it now for a long time. And the science coming out of Europe, the testing has evolved now where we can do on-farm testing in on-farm labs to get the data in 12 to 16 hours. So really, if you think about the evolution of technology, it's really doubling down on how fast we can get data back. And so by empowering farmers, by bringing that data to the farm, by connecting farms to the consumer, farm to consumers, yeah, you're going to upset a bunch of processors, but you're going to have a lot of consumers and farmers that are thriving. Right now in America, we're losing 5.5 dairies every day because of low milk prices and consolidation. We're not losing cows, we're losing dairies. We're building 25 and 50,000 cow dairies, and we're losing the 500 cow dairies and 1,000 cow dairies because they just can't compete. So farmers need a way to compete, and they do that by making wonderful cheeses or raw milk to sell to people, where they take on a mantle of much higher responsibility, and they have to become trained, and they have to understand that what's going on, the responsibility, the insurance, all those things to serve humanity versus a processor that could care less about you. So it's a very evolutionary thing, but I believe, Bobby, if you're listening, buddy, hang on there. We really can make some major steps forward for raw milk for human consumption if we have guidance from the FDA. And it doesn't take 50 people in 5 years. It can be 3 people in 2 months. So it's a matter of just applying the technology you already have at NIH that we already have. We have 2 PubMed articles out, plus another 2 that are pending Raw Milk Institute stuff that's already NIH listed. So PubMed's got the data. It's just a matter of acknowledging it and stopping suppressing it. I would also say one thing. I don't see Trump as a terribly health food kind of guy. He's more of a Burger King, McDonald's, Diet Coke kind of guy. Where I see Bobby as a workout kind of guy, sunshine, vitamin D, doing push-ups, pull-ups like I do every day, and raw milk and whole food nutrition guy. They're kind of in conflict a little bit. So I think what Bobby's trying to do is create some peace to make as much progress as he can where he can. And he was, required to get rid of 20,000 people. That's hard to build a team when you're firing 20,000 people. I know some of those people that got fired contacted me saying, I really wanted to work on raw milk with you. And so he needs to hire some good people, or just simply get McAfee and Jay in the room and say, hey, let's work out a standard for raw milk. Here it is. Let's talk with Mark. Let's talk with Hugh Harriman. Let's talk with Peg Coleman. Let's get the best people in the room. and let's work it out and give a guidance to the states to stop this chaos. And let the states go forward with what they want to do in their states' rights level without the FDA actually regulating it. Regulation by the FDA could kind of be onerous. But the state regulation, I think, would be fair. It'd be local. It'd be something empowering to the farmers in the states. So it's complex, but I think there's a solution and a pathway.
Absolutely. And I find it always interesting when certain industries are actually begging and asking for regulations and guidelines, right? You saw this not long ago with cryptocurrency saying, tell us, what is it we need to do? We'll do it. We just want to be able to proceed in the best way possible. And it seems that's exactly what's happening here. It's just we're not getting those guidelines probably on purpose right now. But I do have faith that over time, things will change. It's a slow process, right, to chip away. And the demand's coming from the people right now. And that's who votes, right? That's where the voters are. That's where the power is. So the more people make it known they want to be in charge of their health, they want options like raw milk, I think you'll start to see that change. It takes time.
We've seen that. I determined 20 years ago, we've been doing this now for 26 years, but I couldn't fight the FDA because they had more money, time, and I had less time and less money. And what I realized was the one thing that would take them out in terms of their ability to have any power over me at all, because remember, they don't regulate me, the state of California does, was to completely comply with state of California and be the best raw milk produced possible and build a huge market. We got 40 million people in California with the fourth largest economy in the friggin' world. I'm so proud of that. We've got raw milk in more stores than any place in the world. Now, you build a big market that acts as an example with dollar voters, and you get judges and CHP highway patrolman officers, and you get administrators in schools, and you got high school football teams drinking raw milk. You got people all over the place drinking raw milk. And you've assured that it's very low risk and safe through your testing technologies. You've just shifted a paradigm. And I begin to wake up now in the morning going, we've won. Because you've got hundreds of thousands of people that know millions of people and hundreds of stores and thriving markets. And you've got other farmers in other states doing something like what we're doing because we teach this through Raw Milk Institute. You arise a market that did not exist before. And that rising market brings with it all the dollar voters, and they can be left and right and down the middle. They could be every orientation you can imagine. We, the people, love raw milk. And so it's a beautiful thing because it's not political. It is a movement, a revolution that's an evolution that happens just organically because people consume it. They want more. That supports the market. That encourages a better dialogue and rumor and all that stuff going on. And then influencers dive in. And when you've got people like, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone and Julia Roberts and Patrick Dempsey, and it just goes on and on and on. Gwyneth Paltrow, Tori Spelling, all these people, David Carr, the football player, all these people love raw milk. And so people want to emulate them and follow them. And that builds the market even faster because they have millions of followers. So you become just a force of nature, literally nature. And it's a fantastic way to build your immune system. And we encourage people to also eat a whole food nutrition as well, not raw milk with junk food. Although that's a good thing that you put raw milk in your food diet. You want to have raw milk with a whole food diet if possible, or as much as that as possible, because that's the gut microbiome, which is 80% of your immune system. And it's going to allow you to be medically independent from our illness machine we've got in America today.